just learned about the Colleen Ballinger situation right now. So Colleen Ballinger is one of the OG YouTubers. I've known about her pretty much as long as there have been YouTubers that I've been following, from like the beginning of YouTubers and everything, like 2005, 2006, for some reason I just never watched her content. Not really sure why. It's not that I didn't like her or didn't think I'd like her. So when I saw Creepshow Art post a live stream that she was gonna be talking about some Colleen Ballinger scandal, I was so confused. I was like, no way. But it was like a 2-hour live stream and I had missed it live, so I was like, I don't really like re-watching live streams unless they're edited down. I think part of the fun is being there live. Oh yeah, I cut my hair. I'm gonna try to make this video pretty quick today. My point in sharing that is I'm an objective onlooker. I've always had a pretty much non-existent but lightly tinted a positive view of Colleen. She's really respected in the YouTube community, and she's respected and beloved by a lot of people I look up to. I'm coming into this from that perspective. Philip DeFranco covered it today on his show, and I was watching it while cooking dinner, and I was like, this is what's going on? Jeez. From just his story, I was kind of getting annoyed with her responses, I guess. I was like, well, that's weird. It doesn't sound like she really responded to everything, but maybe he didn't cover everything, I have notes here, by the way. I took very thorough notes. I'm studying to get my GED and go to college to become an ASL interpreter, so refreshing all my school skills. I made a bubble map, took notes, organized my points. It's helping me make more concise YouTube videos, but anyways. So yeah, I watched Adam's video, then I watched Colleen's video, and I was kind of left feeling the same in certain ways, but also kind of satisfied with her response in different ways. But ultimately, I'm not fully satisfied by her response, and I just wanted to go into that because, like Philip DeFranco said on the show today, the response to her video has been overwhelmingly positive, and the response to Adam's, has been positive, but not totally positive. I calculated it using my refreshed math skills. At the time of recording this, 45% of the responses to his video, Adam's video, have been dislikes. For Colleen, only 6.5% have been dislikes, and that just blows my mind. I don't know why I'm still surprised by things like this, because she's a respected, beloved member of the community, so of course there's going to be an overwhelming positive response. I'll get into it. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I thought that was kind of weird. So I wanted to give credit first to her, because I didn't just hate everything about her response. It's not like her whole response was just trash like Jeffree Star's has been to the whole Davi Vanity situation. I'll also have Adam's and Colleen's videos and Philip DeFranco's, because why not? If you want someone to summarize it for you, I'll have those 3 videos that I watched in the description. So I want to give credit first, and then I'm going to get into the criticisms. I will say, heads up, there's more criticisms than credit, but there's still a good amount of credit. I think a lot of her response was good, and so I don't have a ton to say about the whole thing, but there's a couple parts where I'm like, what? Let's get into it. Let's just jump into it. If you don't like smoking, I'm gonna warn you now. Smoking. I'm gonna be smoking in this video, just so you know. I don't smoke in all of them, but if I want to sesh while filming, I'm an adult. Whatever. Come get me, Popo. Part 1. Credit where it's due. Like I said, I haven't followed Colleen Ballinger. I don't use Twitter. I don't follow her on social media, really. From my objective, relatively uninformed, admittedly, perspective, she seems to have learned from her racist past. It seems like all the racism stuff that was brought up, she completely owned up to it. I really actually loved and appreciated when she was like, that's why I should be speaking out. Don't try to silence people who have gone from racist to not racist, from fat shaming to fat supportive. You know what I mean? We should have those people out sharing their testimonies, their experiences. They should be screaming from the rooftops, hey, I used to be an asshole. Why do you think I always mentioned that I used to be an alt-right anti-feminist? But yeah, I'm not sure if her actions reflect that change. I don't follow her, so I don't know if she's like actively actually speaking out and advocating, for change in these ways, but I have no reason to believe that she would just completely lie about that. She doesn't seem like just a totally like sociopath liar. She seems like a regular person, so I tend to give the benefit of the doubt. So her apology seemed genuine to me there. Of course it wasn't for me, but it did seem genuine to me. Also, it kind of made me sad seeing her apologize for, speaking lightheartedly, jokingly about a trauma. Like, I've definitely, sweet pea, I've personally made tons of jokes throughout my life about different traumas that I've been through. I don't need to go into detail, but sometimes you just have to laugh about things that you've been through and find a way to feel joy in the midst of a hellscape. Talking about how guilty she feels still to this day, 30 years later, basically her entire life later, about her dog having to be put down. It's honestly disgusting and an animal rights violation. I'm not even going to get into that because I could go on for hours. People are allowed to cope with humor, and I don't know when people are going to realize that we're allowed to cope with bad things however the fuck we want to cope with them. To an extent, if you want to cope by beating people up, obviously you don't want to harm people. I don't really see what demographic she would have been harming by being lighthearted about that, but again, I didn't see the clip. Yeah, people are allowed to cope with their own traumas however the fuck they want. Straight up. She admitted that the lingerie situation, that's what I'm calling it, is weird. She admits that's weird, and that in retrospect, of course, it's weird to send that to a 13-year-old. So yeah, I give her credit for that. She admitted that was weird. It was weird. She admits to oversharing, however, she brushes that under the rug thoroughly. Like, I feel like that was part of the main issue I had with her after watching Adam's video, and for her to be to touch on it so lightly and so briefly was very shocking to me, because I kept waiting, like, okay, she's addressing this little thing, this little thing, this little thing, what about the main thing? And I didn't feel like it was fully addressed, but we'll get into that. She also mentions in the video that she doesn't want to share screenshots with Adam because he's underage, and I really respect that. I honestly, a lot, because I'm sure that, things are a two-way street, and not that her being an asshole to a kid is both people's fault equally, but, I appreciate that at least at this point she wants to be respectful of the fact that he's a minor. It seems unfair, but kids are so much more vulnerable than adults, so I think it's important that we put them before ourselves, and I really respect her for, even though maybe she could have made a better case for herself by showing certain screenshots, she chose not to because he's a minor, and I really truly respect that a lot. The last thing that I wanted to give her credit for is that she claimed she didn't know Adam's mom was suspicious of her and their relationship and why she was oversharing so much with him, and she just thought Colleen was kind of sus. She claimed she didn't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam hadn't told her. If I was him in that situation at that age, I would have done what I could to maintain that relationship with a celebrity, even if it meant being a little sneaky with them, I will give her the benefit of the doubt that she's being honest there, and that she would have cut ties with him sooner if she had known how his mom felt. So let's get into the criticisms with part 2, the lingerie situation. Let's start it with another hit though. First point I have here is that Colleen implies that the situation was taken out of context by offering to provide that context. She says, let me provide the context for that. I feel like it was provided in Adam's video already, because he showed the live stream clip. Hello, other big moth. We got some big moths hanging around here because this light's on. I'm gonna keep just one headphone in for now so I can hear my cats and make sure they aren't like being too mischievous while I'm distracted. They're so sweet. Anyways. So I feel like Adam provided context by showing the live stream clips about what was going on, and their stories of what happened really align. They both kind of say that it was, Colleen went into more detail and said that it was a joke with like all her fans, like it was a running joke. Like she said that Adam posted like a picture wearing it over his clothes once he got it, or something. Oh wait, I just realized, didn't he say that he didn't even open, or he didn't even get to see them because his mom just took them right away because she was so mad?
So I did get sent the lingerie, and immediately whenever it arrived, my parents were furious. They were so angry, and they took it away. And I didn't know if they still had it, and I asked my mom, did she have it, because she knew I was making this video. So she was looking all morning, but she did find it. So I still have this. My mum kept it. I didn't even see these because my mum had just taken them away because she was so shocked. I didn't even see these.
It was so ridiculous and funny, we laughed about it, and I forgot to send them to him. And eventually he tweeted me asking me for them again. I sent them to him. He put them on over his clothes and posted about them. It was like a big joke within the fandom. He put them on over his clothes and posted about them. He put them on over his clothes and posted about them.
I didn't even see these.
He put them on over his clothes and posted about them.
I didn't notice while taking all these notes, but that's completely contradictory stories, and it does look like the package was barely opened. Anyways, other than that, I wrote down here that their stories about what happened were generally the same, and they mostly lined up. I said they lined up, but clearly I don't think they did. I didn't get the impression from Adam's video in any way that Colleen was like doing this as like a way to be sexual with a kid. It didn't come across to me like it was sexual. It came across to me like dumb and thoughtless, which, you know, she pretty much admitted to in the video, and that's why I gave her credit there. I agree that this doesn't make her look like a child groomer in any sexual way, but, you know, we're gonna get into how there's different ways to groom children, and it's not always just sexual. I mean, of course Adam didn't see it weird as a 13 or 14-year-old. He's a teenager. At that age, you start to feel like a grown-up, you feel cool, you feel like you can relate to grown-ups for once, and so then you think you're the same as a grown-up, and that's where the power dynamic comes into play, because, you know, you aren't. At the end of the day, you're still such a kid. Just because he's a teenager at this time, I don't want people saying in my comments like, oh, well, he was a teenager, he should have known better. People say like, oh, well, I knew what I was doing as a teenager, I knew what I was doing. You felt like you knew what you were doing. And if you're an adult now and you think you knew what you were doing as a teenager, that means you need to fucking check yourself, because you don't even realize how dumb and awful you were. Because I guarantee there's at least one way where you were trash as a teenager. Because teenagers are fucked up. It's like the worst time to be a human being is being a teenager. So like, no disrespect to teenagers, but like, I can already hear people like victim blaming him because of his age, which is fucking insane and dumb to me. Also, I wrote this down, the audience didn't seem to find it weird at the time. Of course, this is when I was taking Colleen's word for it. If there is that discrepancy between their stories, then one of them's lying, and I don't know honestly who I would think it is. I have no idea. But yeah, if that really is the true story about the audience, like it being like a running joke in their community, their fandom, I wonder why the audience and the fans themselves wouldn't find it weird at that time, but now people are gonna be like, oh, well, that's weird, because like a lot of these people criticizing her are her fans, right? Not all of them, but some of them. And like, were those fans around for that time? What's the tea? What's the piss, sis? I was also wondering, did Colleen know Adam's age at the time? Like, she knew and joked about his parents being like not liking that she would send him lingerie. Did she just know that he was a teenager? Did she know he was 13 or 14? Like, what's the deal there, you know? That's kind of weird. Oh, and I also wrote down here, I feel like Colleen, by spending so much time on this, like, kind of right away, like, she was almost, without saying it, she was implying that, like, the lingerie situation was the root of the grooming allegations. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if people are online saying she sent this kid underwear, she was grooming him, da-da-da. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people twisted it into that. But I think any intelligent, skeptical person can see that she very, very likely was not sexually grooming him, and Adam didn't even claim that she was. Like, it was like I said, it was dumb and immature. I don't know why, but she implied in a way that this was the root of the grooming allegations, which it literally wasn't. At least that's not the impression that I got at all from the videos or from Philip DeFranco's video. You know, we're gonna get into that now with part 3, avoiding issues. So it felt to me that Colleen didn't even really address the grooming allegations beyond just saying, I'm not a groomer. I definitely don't think that she would be a child groomer in the traditional sense of the word, but literally just look up the definition of groom. I found this: to prepare or train someone for a particular purpose or activity. And it seemed to me, from what I saw in both their videos, was that, well, especially Adam's really, she manipulated him by getting close to him and using oversharing, you know, which she, like I said, she briefly touched on, but like, she doesn't mention at all how it connects to the grooming. Like, she used oversharing and getting close to him to get him to give her information. And now, to be fair, Adam doesn't have screenshots. He had plenty of screenshots, except for the allegation that she was grooming him for information and to like follow her, or to follow stories about people that she knew in her life or something. I guess he claims, I'll put the clip here, he claims that he got involved with the drama sites in that way or something.
Me and Colleen started talking on a more personal level, and by 2017 we were good friends, or what I would have called good friends. Very quickly we started talking a lot, and my parents were really happy to see the fact that someone like Colleen Ballinger was so dedicated to talking to all of her fans. This slowly turned into me getting private details about her divorce, and what was happening with the relationship with her ex-husband. Around this time, though, was whenever my parents started getting a little bit more cautious and were wondering why a 30-year-old was talking to, at this time, a 13-year-old about her divorce. So from this point on, my parents really observed the conversations that I took part in with Colleen. Our relationship slowly turned into me always being asked to go find drama for her, whether it was about Josh, ex-friends, or fans. At the time, I saw this as harmless, and I was just really excited that my favourite person in the entire world wanted to talk to me. Now, looking back though, I can see that it was just a way of baiting me to constantly get her the information. And in 2016 to 2018, I was always asked to follow along gossip sites. Now, the gossip sites were talking about her ex-husband and hers relationship and the divorce. And I was very much so made to follow along with that and then feed back that information and what they were talking about. Now, me doing this, it led to my name getting thrown into the mix in these gossip sites, and Adam, the character, the person, whatever you want to call it, started getting really attacked on these sites too.
Again, I don't fully understand what's going on, so keep that in mind. He gave a reason that he didn't want to share some other screenshots with her because they were personal, and so I think that might be... Hey, I'm gonna pause filming. So Colleen claims herself that she watched Adam's video. She claims that herself in her response. So I see two possible reasons, and personally I think it's probably a combination of both, that she would have not addressed at all the accusation that she like groomed him to give her information and stuff. You know, and so I think one reason for that would be that she's avoiding it on purpose to control the narrative and save face. I empathize. I can't imagine how it must feel to go through such a public, like, expose phase like that. I'll probably experience it once in my life if I stay on social media. That's just kind of how it works. So, you know, I understand wanting to control the narrative and to save face, but she saw his video. She knew every single allegation that he made against her, and she just doesn't address that one at all. And I think that could tie into the second reason that I wrote down, which is a complete lack of self-awareness on these issues, you know, to think that they aren't worth addressing, assuming that she really just doesn't see why that should be addressed and how that could lead to her being called a groomer. Like, is she just really that unaware of her actions and what's right and wrong, or is she purposely avoiding it because she did do that and she doesn't have an excuse for that, and she doesn't want people to twist that into sexual grooming, but like even if that's the case, just be like, yeah, I manipulated a kid and that was super fucked up and that was wrong too. Like, she owned up to some pretty bad stuff already, so I don't see why she wouldn't just own up to that too. Unless he's lying, because again, he didn't provide screenshots, and I'm not saying that he is. I personally don't think that he is, but I'm not going to pretend like I know. But I personally am inclined to believe him, especially concerning the fact that she avoided certain issues. Just, if that was completely meritless, why wouldn't she just say that? Why wouldn't she just be like, the whole allegation of getting information from him is total BS, like, that didn't happen, and that's why he didn't provide screenshots. Like, it would be so easy if he was lying. But the fact that she ignored it completely makes me want to believe him. Because why else would she not address it? I'm going in circles now. Part 4. The tweets and messages. Colleen claims that Adam was asking her to help him, or to help her with the Miranda Sings Twitter, to just, like, bring that character back again, I guess. And I do think that's believable, and it would even fit within the story that Adam was sharing, his perspective. But I find it completely irrelevant, and I don't know why she would mention it at all. Like, she claims that letting him take control of her Twitter for a day was her fault, and she takes ownership of that. But then she she had brought up the fact that he asked. Like, I just don't understand why it's relevant. It seems to me like she was either intentionally or subconsciously trying to put blame on Adam. I would honestly guess subconsciously. She doesn't seem like a purposefully malicious, evil person. She just seems like a privileged person who is very kind of arrogant. It just takes her a while to kind of check her privilege, I guess. And she seems like the kind of person who would defensively, subconsciously, because she thinks so highly of herself and is so sensitive about, like, how she looks to people, like, that she would subconsciously just kind of shift some of the blame onto him to relieve her own guilt. I remember her bringing that up and then just, like, moving on, and I was like, why do we care, though? She also misrepresents her last interactions with Adam, and I have 3 different ways that she did that. I have 3 different points here. First, she left out, in her version of events, she left out Do you hear the coyotes? We're in Santa Fe, but coyotes still be out here sometimes. So the first way is that she left out the subtle guilt tripping. It was really uncomfortable to read those screenshots. I'm gonna put a clip in here.
So later in the night, she sent me a message and said, okay, I deleted the gay tweets, sorry, I'm too weak, I can't have people thinking I would make fun of the LGBTQ community. Don't hate me, but I was getting too many hate tweets. And she says about how it was her fans that made her delete the tweet. And so I just wrote back, I said, that's chill, okay, no problem, sorry about that. And she said, not your fault, you're so funny. I'm just too sensitive, it will take a while for me to get thick skin again, so be patient with me. And then I said, it's all G, just trying to work with you to make sure you can reach your full potential. And she says, I know. And then I say about the rise of interactions that the Twitter had, and she says, I love you. Thank you for everything, for always believing and helping me. So even though she was saying this, she was slowly starting to put the blame and guilt onto me for stuff that she had already approved and was going to tweet on her own, whether she had given me the password or not. Now keep in mind, she texted me and said, go crazy in relation to on the account, yet I only tweeted stuff that she had approved, including talking to fans and keeping updated in group chats. The next morning and day were really rough for me. I just want to say thanks to my friends and my parents and my family, because that was a rough day. It was such a bad day. I saw someone I called a best friend turn her back on me, and that really hurts. So at 6:05 p.m. on the 27th of March, she sent me a message saying, I'm getting an overwhelming amount of hate for the coming out stuff. I don't know what to do. It's like every other tweet I'm getting right now on my Colleen Twitter. I haven't even looked at the Miranda, yet I'm scared to. So 10 minutes later, it turned into her saying how she apologised to one person. And she said, the thing is, I agree with them. Queerbaiting is not a joke. I'm super sad I've upset so many people. I'm telling you, girl, I'm super sensitive, like near tears. Again, trying to guilt me and make me feel really bad for something that she had already approved and found funny. I didn't even get a message from Colleen asking how I was. It was just guilt-tripping me that I had done all this to her, almost as if I had planned it or something. So she continued to talk about it. She said, it's all anyone is talking about, I'm really upset. I would never post something like that, and now everyone thinks I'm homophobic. I'm really, really upset. So right now, she's seemingly taken back all opinions of me, of my tweet ideas, of my input on the account, for her saying thank you for everything you did. It was magical. I'm so happy. The fans. Now it's, I would never tweet stuff like that. My fans think I'm homophobic. I can't believe this. And instead of checking in how I was as well, I was just getting short, snappy sentences to guilt me even more.
And I know I showed a pretty long clip there, but I really think it's important. Believe victims, or at least listen to them. You don't have to believe every single thing that comes out of their mouth, but for God's sakes, at least listen. So I just wanted to share the full context of those screenshots and how he, as a child, was affected by them. I have no idea how conscious she was of the guilt tripping that she was doing, or if she's just used to behaving that way with people. It's just kind of a habitual pattern of behavior that then got inflicted on a kid. I don't know. He has screenshots of that, as you saw, and those speak for themselves. I think there's a reason that she didn't mention them. Second way that she misrepresented their interactions, she claimed that she replied to Adam as soon as he messaged her, yet she ignored his message of encouragement after she guilt tripped him. She doesn't really make it clear that he sent her a nice message and then she ignored it, and then he sent her that message. In her version of events, she went directly from explaining the time when he had access to her Twitter account, and then immediately goes into, and then I replied to him as soon as he messaged me that he was upset. She makes it sound like it was one event right after the other, not that there was this period where she ignored a supportive, positive message from him right after guilt tripping him. And then the third way that she misrepresented that situation was she claimed that Adam, quote, brought her son into things without showing his message for context.
Been told by multiple people about how you and Corey have been running around saying I run a hate account for people who support you, which is extremely disappointing that your mind even goes to that place. I'm aware and swore my parents and have screenshots of everything from the past few weeks that Corey has said about me and in relation to you about me in these group chats, and also everything else, but I never thought you would stoop that low, especially due to the 17-year age gap. Talk to me in 16 years if a 33-year-old takes advantage of Flynn for years, then runs shit talking him on Twitter. You want to play that game? Why do you even bother following me? Do you know how hard that message was to send? To someone that I idolized, to someone I loved.
So that's the message that he sent her there. I think it's obvious that his point with that was, you are a mother with a son who is mistreating some other mother's son. It's obvious he's appealing to her motherhood to say, you've wronged someone's son. How would you feel if someone did this to your kid? And then she's like, why bring my son into it? What does he have to do with anything? Obviously, it's a comparison. To be so obtuse, to be like, what does my son have to do with anything? He's not crapping on your kid. He's making a comparison. Either she's thoroughly delusional and bad at realizing when she's wrong about stuff, which I would very much believe, or she's purposefully being obtuse in that situation instead of taking ownership for her part in things. And I'm gonna be honest, one's worse than the other, but neither of them is a good look. In this situation, the benefit of the doubt still makes her look bad, and again, I'm not surprised that she would leave so much information out. Part 5, final thoughts. So I wrote here, quote, people are scrutinizing me, but I'm grateful, good vibes, la la, speech, which is pretty cynical. But, my problem with her conclusion to that video was not that having the sentiment of, let's grow and change from stuff, but I'm not a monster kind of vibes. It's not inherently bad, and if she had given an adequate response, in my eyes, I wouldn't have been so annoyed by that conclusion. But to just hear her wrapping everything up in this pretty little positivity bow when I'm like, but you didn't address the issue. You didn't earn your good vibes la-la speech. Just kind of annoyed me. I felt like it was a pretty subpar response. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. A. Or should I say A. It just felt lacking. It started off really good, but then she just ended it before addressing the stuff I was most concerned about. And yeah, it just left me feeling like I still had a lot of questions for her and feeling like she was probably not answering them on purpose. I mentioned this in the beginning, The 44% dislikes for Adam and 6.5% dislikes for Colleen seems really unfair to me. You know, I also wrote down here, I think that clout, ageism, and a 2-week gap between Adam's video and then Colleen's response all could be playing a role in the positive response to Colleen's video. Clout, like I just said, ageism, people are inclined to believe grown adults over children. It's really sad because children are people and we don't give them nearly as much credit as they deserve. I'll link it here, my 100 subscriber special video about my toxic ex that I will only touch on briefly because I don't like talking about him. I got a lot of criticism in it because I was 18 when I got in this relationship with this 38-year-old. And people blamed me. They said, well, you were 18. You should have just left. You should have known better, da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, maybe a lot of people that age would have known better, you know? But just like Colleen didn't realize that dumb, racist stereotypes aren't funny until she was my age, I didn't realize that huge age gap relationships were so toxic and that my relationship was so toxic until, you know, I was 20 and I got out of that abusive relationship. You know, because of my age at the time, people really kind of blamed me, and I think that's so weird because I feel like it's obvious to any relatively moderately intelligent person that a 38-year-old is going to be able to run circles around an 18-year-old intellectually and manipulatively. But, you know, there's a lot of dumb people out there, so I just wanted to share that because I really do relate. I've experienced that discrimination myself, of victim blaming due to age. It's ageism flourishing. Gross. The 2-week gap between their video uploads, I think people might have just forgotten all the main issues, and like I could see watching his video then seeing her video 2 weeks later and feeling like it was a good response, but like I watched them back to back and it just was a bad response in certain ways. It just was. Also, last little thing, she posted her response on her smaller vlog channel. I looked up Colleen Ballinger as someone who's not subscribed to her about what's going on, to find out about what's going on. It took me to her main channel, and I couldn't find it. I was like, did she delete the video? So then I went to trending, because Philip DeFranco had said it was on trending, because I didn't know the title of her video, and then I saw it on trending, and gosh, I keep hitting the mic, sorry. But I saw it was on trending, and it was on her vlog channel, which has like 5 million less subs or something, and, you know, she's active regularly on both channels, so I don't know why she would post if it's a really good response that she wants everyone to see so they know the truth that she shared. You'd think she'd want to post it on her main channel so that all her fans see instead of just the ones who are following her vlog channel. But because she put it on her vlog channel, I'm very much inclined to believe, based on all this other behavior, that she did that on purpose. She did that so that way, you know, subconsciously or not, she did that so that she would be able to keep it visible from less people, so that it would be harder for people like me who don't follow her to find it. You know what I mean? And that just seems kind of weird to me. If that was really the 100% truth about the situation, and it was going to clear you of all charges, so to speak, wouldn't you want the most amount of people to see it? I don't know. I just don't trust that. You know, no hate to her. She seems like a very immature, self-entitled, privileged woman, very full of herself and not willing to criticize herself more than she has to save face and maintain a good reputation, which very much is the well-off white family culture in America. What a great culture. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that if you found it interesting, if you like this video, go ahead and hit like. If you dislike it, go ahead and hit dislike. Leave a comment, and you could be shouted out in my next video. If there's anything that I don't know about that I'm missing that would change my perspective, please leave it in the comments if you care at all. Like let me know if I'm wrong about something or if I'm right about something. Just let me know if there's anything I'm missing. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. But yeah, thanks for watching, and take care. I'm gonna go stay up all night and probably sleep all day tomorrow. Have a good one.